All right, hi Ruth, it's Ryan.
It's Anthony.
I'm Ava.
I'm Ron. I'm Jake.
Okay, so our problem with alcohol abuse among college students nationally, the definition is alcohol abuse is defined as drinking that can put oneself or others in harmful situations. This includes binge drinking and alcohol misuse. So one of the causes that we have of alcohol abuse is peer pressure and social norms to drink. So does anyone have solutions off of that?
I have a solution about social norms.
Okay.
So the claim is correcting students' misperceptions about how much their peers drink can reduce individual consumption. And Melissa A. Lewis and Clayton Neighbors in 2006 found that personalized normative feedback significantly reduced student drinking by aligning perceptions with reality. And these effects were especially notable among heavy drinkers who overestimated peer consumption. Some policy instruments I found were informational campaigns like posters, flyers, digital media correcting misperceptions, survey-driven messaging that used local campus data for accuracy, and then in-class interventions, which were embedded in first-year programming. Should I move on to the counter argument?
No. I have like the same sort of claim that social norms campaigns posted expressing stats about how much students actually drink can be a solution with, along with you said, posters, flyers, and stuff. Some evidence I have for that is for behavior health notes that students often overestimate how much their peers drink, which increases pressure to conform, and campaigns that show most students drink moderately or not at all can reduce perceived pressure and actual consumption.
Got it.
I also have something going off of that. So my claim was if colleges educate students on how peers exaggerate their alcohol intake, students may not feel forced to drink excessively to fit in. And one evidence I have is the strategy of communicating actual student norms to dispel myths, increasingly referred to as the social norms approach, has begun to receive significant attention for its efficiency and effect. So like colleges should create necessary programs that are part of orientation that go over like alcohol abuse and making it like publicly aware that people exaggerate, and then they'll become informed on it and like know what to do in the future.
Yeah, I also have something similar. That they should provide alcohol for social programs for college students, and according to the National Library of Medicine, there's reports of public health for alcohol-free social programs at college and universities.
Yeah, I have something similar to that. My claim was focusing on getting the higher risk students who have alcohol problems treated can help other students from being influenced to dangerously drink alcohol. And evidence from this I have from the alcoholism clinical and experimental research that focusing on only bad kids lets the majority of kids live normally, whereas kids with alcohol problems need proper mental treatment to actually make them stop. And then some implications of this would be like an intervention program that targets these like individuals at health services and counseling teams, and then mandatory screenings, recovery pathways, counseling, and mentorships included in this program. Then anonymously self-reporting could encourage more participation.
Do you guys think that if colleges had like a class that fought against peer pressure and like how to deal with it would be effective or not effective?
So that's where some of my research was. One of my policy experiments was to implement a class. Like a counter argument to that is that people like dismiss the class, just not go to it because they think it would be like boring. But I think research would show that it was actually pretty helpful. It would actually be good. Instead of just having like something like orientation telling students not to drink, having like a year-long class like telling students the danger of drinking could really help people out.
Definitely.
I don't think that it would because I read a study, according to addictive behaviors, that most students who get punished and then have to go to like courses, 1/3 of them don't actually stop their drinking habits. So I feel like that would be not as effective as.
Well, I'm not even talking about just a drinking prevention course. I'm talking about how to deal with peer pressure as like a whole.
Yeah, I think like just not punishment. Like another one of my instruments was like having classes like Good Samaritan and like amnesty classes so that students can like not like face punishment if they really have a problem. Like going to college, not fearing punishment. That was for like Moreno and like NCADD, and they were talking about like how students feel like scared to go get help because they feel like they're going to get in trouble. I feel like if they have a class they can go to that's not, they're not going to get in trouble or like get legal harm, like it would be much more beneficial for them.
Definitely, I think a lot more people would go if there was no punishment to come out and, you know, tell the truth.
I agree, because also I read something from the Washington Post, and it said that proponents of a popular strategy called social norms marketing, which tries to convince students that binge drinking is not as common as they believe, which could be like asserted into a class. This research from 130 colleges, campuses, asserted that the strategy is showing results. So I definitely think if there's a class that like informs people, there would be results over time. It just like might take a little bit.
Does anyone have anything else on peer pressure, social norms? Or
Do you think we're ready for the counter argument?
Yeah, we do.
All right. So what I have is, according to Alyssa Weitzman, Tobin Nelson, Henry Weschler, and Hangley, in a study they did in 2004, some campus-wide implementations failed to reduce drinking and even saw increases, likely due to poor design or misleading messages. Is there any counter argument you guys would like to add or rebuttal?
No, I was talking about it before. Like a lot of people like dismiss the classes because they feel like it's unimportant or it's just like not something they agree with. But like my rebuttal to that is if you have like a year-long class that people can go to, I think it'd be a lot more beneficial.
I also believe that many students with a drinking problem try to distance themselves from like help and like stuff from like educational purposes, and it makes it hard for schools to like determine who actually has a drinking problem and who doesn't. So like that could like it could be hard for a school to like make these students go to like a certain class, you know, like a peer pressure class even.
So do you think that a solution could be like making it like a mandatory class, so like you have to attend? It's not something you can just like skip out on.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't have a problem, you just don't go to it.
I think a mandatory class and small classes, like a bunch of small classes, so people don't view it as a waste of time and don't lose focus.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they should make sure it's engaging, and like one of the unintended effects I found here, according to Alyssa Weitzman, is that poorly executed campaigns may backfire by normalizing heavy drinking if messages aren't clear.
Yeah.
So I definitely think engagement is a big part of that.
Yeah, I saw that where the problem is, it seems like drinking is regulated by saying that less drinking isn't as bad, instead of trying to get rid of drinking as a whole.
For me, that gets into like another solution, like drinking like where you can track it. That's another one of my like solutions.
Do you want to tell us
That's,
more?
that's outside of like peer pressure.
Do you want to transition to the
Yeah,
next
you
solution?
can.
Okay, so yeah.
Let's go deeper into that.
Okay, so I have picked one that says colleges should understand the beverage preferences of students so they can help cater to specific students who recover from their drinking habits. So, from like the World Medical and Health Policy, screening students to see their beverage options can be flagged if students prefer high-risk beverages, like alcohol mixed with beverage. After the screening, specialized health food counseling to help students talk through consequences and take options. Additionally, informing students about risks certain beverages can change students' preferences for alcohol choices. Encouraging beer because it's easier to track than other drinks is an example of a safe drinking because it highlights self-monitoring.
So what you're saying is that like students should track their drinking, or
Well, like, yeah, teaching students how to drink responsibly
Okay.
is another way of like helping like alcohol use.
I feel like that kind of ties back into like the class. Like if you're in a class year round that teaches people about alcohol, like year round that could teach you like responsible drinking, so you wouldn't have like a real serious problem.
Yeah, so maybe a peer pressure and like safe drinking.
yeah, I think
I was
that's
gonna say,
hand in hand.
I think that ties into the social norm stuff. The rebuttal I had for it was, social media is big nowadays, and I think if a lot of people saw influencers and social media starts talking about it, more students can relate to it, and if a public figure is talking about, dial back drinking, how it's bad for you, and it's not a social norm, and that a lot of people aren't drinking as much as is perceived, then I think it will affect a lot of college students, and they would take a different approach to it.
I think that would actually be like a pretty good solution because a lot of kids are like really tied to their phones. So like having someone to like implement that on like a different platform would definitely help kids out.
Also, to go with like social norms, we said that like peer influence and like drinking or like feeling like you have to drink to fit in is a huge like part of alcohol abuse. And something I read from it says colleges can work towards a more harmonious community that fosters responsibility, trust, and compassion. And in order to do this, during freshman orientation, activities can be planned to help develop conversation skills. As students learn to become more comfortable in social settings, they will feel less need to drink to excess. So like during orientation, like I know we had here, like they planned activities for like people to make friends, because a lot of the time people feel like they need to like drink to fit in and make friends. So if there's other activities planned that are like mandatory, that might also help. Like the other ideas.
Do you guys think that the play, like, and the alcohol prevention stuff that we had to do coming into this was, like, effective or not really?
I don't think it was effective enough. I feel like a lot of people weren't paying attention to it. It was like too long and dragged out. Like personally, I just wanted to leave the auditorium because it was just like it was really long. And I wanted to go to sleep.
They kind of made it like a fun thing. They didn't really make it like a serious thing,
But I do think, like, I feel like it was this right idea, because if you're too, like, just growing into someone, this is wrong, don't do this, like, I don't think that message is going to get across. So I do think them making a play out of it was a good idea. I just think it was too long and lost a lot of
It was
people's attention.
definitely a good thought, but I think they needed to execute it like more like professionally.
It also wasn't. Oh, sorry.
No.
It also wasn't just about like alcohol. Like it was about like all like the different problems in college. That I feel like the play is like separate from like what we're talking about, because we're talking about more like extreme like implication of this.
Well, I just brought up like having activities planned during orientation. So did you think that like everyone like meeting at the hub, I don't know, that wasn't really mandatory, I don't know if it was, but like did you think that was a good strategy to like help people make friends without like having alcohol involved?
Yeah, I think definitely having activities would be very helpful.
Sure, but like the counter argument to that is like, what would make these students even want to go? Because a lot of people didn't go to the hub.
I think like making it mandatory. Like students wouldn't want to probably go, but making it mandatory, like students could have fun, and it'd be like an outlet to not drink alcohol and actually have a fun time. It's like being sober, not having to have like an issue going to the bar or something.
Yeah, because it's more regular.
Should we move on to another like cause
Yeah.
that we had? We had using alcohol as like a scapegoat to cope with things and solutions for that.
Solution I had for this was that like campuses should offer mental health support, such as like recovery programs to combat the stigma students use for their problems, such as alcohol. CPRs, which are collegiate recovery programs, are college-based programs designed to help promote recovery of students through social events, alcohol-free housing, crisis support, and rehab. So that would be helpful.
Yeah, I found like students that had mental health challenges, like with depression, like normally turn to alcohol, like as for coping. And that was from Merrill and Carey 2016. And I found that like a policy instrument that could be implemented was like having more counseling options, maybe not anonymous, because students may not want to get help because like the stigma of like not wanting to like, I don't know, be seen as with like a counselor or something. So like, maybe having like online or anonymous courses for these students to like get help for their issue would probably help.
I think that's a really good idea, like the anonymous courses. I feel like that would be very effective because people are definitely scared that they'll be like judged.
Yeah.
I also was reading on how like most students who do that type of stuff feel judged, and like if it was like other students in the campus who did it, I feel like they would feel like less judged and like it's like less like
Yeah. Classes don't even have to be anonymous, and even bringing people together at the same problem, like you probably feel like, I don't know, just like essentially like companionship with like everyone like being the same like boat as you, everyone having the same problem. But I think like having both probably help because some people aren't like that.
Do you think a lot of time that like people don't attend these like counseling offices is because they think they don't have a drinking problem and like think they don't need help?
I think that definitely could be.
Yeah.
Like avoidance. Of
I feel like people like a lot of I think with addiction in general, people don't normally think they have a problem.
I definitely think that alcohol is a big problem, and an article I read in Timely Care said that alcohol abuse is often a symptom of deeper issues, and treating the root causes leads to sustainable change. And basically just that. Help me out here.
I think you're talking about the mental like illnesses.
Oh
It's
yeah,
more.
like I think that counseling is a necessity because alcohol is a big problem, and for students from the ages of 18 to whatever 22 for undergrad, it's very hard to tackle addiction this strong alone. So I think mental health services and counseling is definitely a good thing to have.
Yeah, I think they would definitely like normalize seeking help.
So how could we like implement like those strategies into like a class or something? If it, you just think it should be a resource?
I've said that each student should be assigned a counselor and have like monthly meetings with the counselors just to talk about alcohol abuse and see where their head's at one-on-one, just to get a good grasp of.
Did you have any?
No, that was kind of one of the things that Walls is running into, like with my research, because I feel like students wouldn't want to reach out, and it'd be really hard to like get students like randomly. So having people assigned a counselor, everyone assigned a counselor, that would definitely help because even if you don't even have a problem, just going once a month, you can talk out any problems you're having. Even alcohol abuse, like that would be really helpful. So I think that'd actually be a really good idea.
Yeah, in high school, we each had like a counselor and had to meet like every like month, and just they would like bring up ideas like were so willing to help you, and like you knew everyone was going to them, so it wasn't like you felt alone. So I feel like you would be like more open to sharing your like issues if you have any. I think that's really effective.
And in terms of like between a counselor and like taking a class for it, I definitely think like a lot of students would rather meet in private. And also, I mentioned like engagement before. I think it would be more engaging, like meeting one-on-one, which might be better for some students. But I don't know. I can't speak for all students.
Okay, any other ideas regarding like coping? Or we can move on to the next one.
I mean, counter arguments. Do you guys have?
Yeah, I do. Some say that colleges are just like education institutions, not treatment centers for students who use alcohol and cope with their struggles. With that being said, like they do have the duty to support their students while being provide services that help them in all aspects of their life.
My counter argument was just like people don't want to get help just because like how they're gonna be judged or like how they're gonna feel. So like I think just having an anonymous can help a lot of people out.
Having an anonymous like resource,
Yeah.
like because if we're gonna like implement it, like we're gonna make everybody have a counselor that has a mandatory like monthly meeting, like you said, and then also additional resource of like anonymous report.
Something that like I found was that a lot of the time that when like students come to college, they look at college as a time to experiment with alcohol and they like perceive it as a reward after like a stressful week. So definitely like instead of like thinking alcohol is like a way to escape stress, I think the counselor could be a different method of dealing with stress.
Definitely.
Should we go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. Another cause we had was like easy access to alcohol on campus, and students like said that that's a strong indicator if they're going to drink or not because they can just easily get it.
I have that authorities restricting students from accessing alcohol will lower the amount of excessive, dangerous drinking in college. From addictive behaviors, it says students who report drinking heavily have a higher likelihood of doing so when they have a fake ID. Police enforcement, schools, and public health pursuits can help stop access to alcohol getting into the hands of risky individuals. And then to implement this, I said police authorities, school policies, and large public health pursuits can work to remove the easy access of students obtaining alcohol. Police authorities can start charging students with more law enforcement rather than being more lenient. Schools can create suspensions and even more severe punishments for students breaking the law on their campus, and public health can create better counseling and educational services for the misuse of alcohol.
Yeah, I found that like students said it was easy to obtain alcohol at bars or through Greek life. That was like Moro, 2007, and then being like close to at alcohol everywhere and having cheap things with like that was from Strong in Langford 2002. Like it was like it's so normalized and so easy like to access. So I think like an instrument to implement like would probably be like cracking down like fake IDs and stuff. Greek life, like I think the law would have to like persuade people not to do it. It's a really serious problem and continually do it.
I said that like I know like easy access is like a part of it, but it's more of like college administrators have to adjust the way they're handling it, and like they have to obtain sets of rules that like they will actually enforce. And something I have that backs that up is from the New York Times article. It says, one survey of those who had violated their college alcohol policies found that parental notification, going through the criminal justice system, or being required to enter an alcohol treatment program would be like more deterrent than fines and warnings. So it's like the punishments right now aren't enough. There has to be like stronger like rules if you abused alcohol, like what would actually happen to you.
You're talking about within the college or?
Yeah.
I think both.
Or
Like,
both, yeah.
like right now, I feel like the punishments aren't enough to deter students from like, even if they get in trouble, students don't feel like it's a problem. So like they'll do it anyway because they feel like the punishments is like it's just a slap on their wrist basically. Yeah, I think it needs to be more heavy because like it's a serious problem.
So
not something you could just pay off.
So then what type of like punishments then? You said heavy, like how
I,
much?
like I don't want to like be that heavy because like there's like students have to think about a future, but it shouldn't be like just all right. You can pay $500. Like it's off your record. I think. But, like I don't really know, but like
Well, this one says entering like an alcohol treatment program.
yeah, they have.
So
like,
right
another
now,
class probably be
right now, in Penn State at least, they have like, if they get caught in alcohol, they have to like take classes. So, like, how more would you say they have to do?
I think that probably go back to like what we started on the first one, like having year round. So I think those classes are only like maybe a semester, maybe like a couple weeks. Having that like maybe even just having a counselor as well, just the resources for you to like actually output your problems.
Well, what do you think should happen if they're caught by the like police?
It shouldn't be a slap on the wrist, but I don't think you should like police should ruin someone's future. So like definitely like having a serious talk and then like I don't know, definitely not like jail time, is it? Well, unless I don't know. Just, like,
Yeah.
Is it a felony in some states?
I'm not 100% sure, but to build on what you said, I found here from Holder and Trano, I think in 2005, they said increasing or enhancing liability laws led to measurable declines in alcohol-related harms. So I'm not 100% sure how like specific and like the enhancing the liability laws were, but it's nothing like going to jail and like, but it's like law related and it might go on your record. So it's more than just a slap on the wrist. You know?
Yeah.
I think just having punishment so where like it's not like students will like feel like if I don't drink it's better. It won't be like a problem.
My counter argument to that is like you said, it goes on the record. How does that help the individual getting whatever they did treated?
Well, it might like stop them or what's the word, like motivate them. Not motivate them is the perfect word to use here, but you know, it might stop them from doing it again or like.
But what if they're addicted? I mean, we're talking about alcohol abuse. So a lot of people doing alcohol abuse are addicted.
I think if you get something on your record, it's definitely an eye opener that you might definitely take a step back. And like you said, you know, it's an addiction, so people go back to it. That's where I think the counselors are there to step in.
Definitely.
Also, if you do have something on your record, I feel like the people around you will then know, like, maybe you need help. I feel like if you get in trouble anyway, you should just get a counselor in the beginning.
I think everybody should be counseled.
Yeah. I think that.
You mentioned something before about Greek life. Do you think cracking down on what you think parties and stuff would?
It's hard to say because like, people in Greek life are 21 and it's like legal. You're like, but there's also people that are under 21. So I don't know like what to implement there, but like maybe like once in a while, just like having like making them do like a mandatory like sober night or something like that, just to like help students out because fraternities especially have like the stigma of having like a lot of alcohol
Yes.
and alcohol abuse or something.
Yeah, I believe even if you are over, like 21 and older, alcohol abuse still isn't good and it's still like bad. It's still like an addiction. You probably should still get counseling, you know, no matter what.
Yeah,
So
it's just like I feel like it's just hard to like because if you're 20, it's legal. So it's like hard to.
I mean, moderation.
Yeah, but
But
going back to
you're
that.
talking about authorities right now, right?
Yeah, like we were. Just like I don't know. 'Cause I was just talking about Greek life in general because like you have alcoholic stigma. And a lot of that.
Do you feel like maybe even pushing the age back where you can't join a fraternity or sorority until sophomore year would make a difference, or
Ooh, I
just-
feel like that might be a good idea.
That would
like
probably
just giving you know your freshman year to truly develop and not get as easily distracted, gives you a better mindset going into your sophomore year.
I think that would be really helpful because I think that would give students a year to like experiment, like and see what they can do, and then they'd be more mature. And then entering a fraternity, they wouldn't. I feel like they wouldn't abuse alcohol as much. So.
But a counter argument to that is like, wouldn't they just do exactly what they did freshman year? Like, just push back now?
I don't think so because you're here for a full year and you understand it and get an opportunity to look at the older classmen and how they handle it, how they do it, and you can make a judgment based off that from an outside perspective instead of actually being in the fire.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of the time, like not here this spring, but like people literally rush in the fall. So it's like they don't even get to learn about like what campus is like before they get here. So it's more of like they're rushed into it. So then they might just like drink right away instead of learning about it.
I also like the idea, to build on it, in the original research we did, we brought up how people new to college are more susceptible to like drinking and alcohol harm.
Because another thing was an article was saying how to eliminate Greek life as a whole, but a big thing is alumni, especially in Penn State, is Greek life through alumni, and that's how they get a lot of their funding. So I think if you take away that as a whole, you're gonna have a lot of angry alumni that feel like their identity is getting torn from them, and they're gonna lose a lot of funding.
Yeah, I feel like it's such a big like culture and like history of like a lot of colleges, so taking it away wouldn't be like I feel like the best aspect of going out like, to attack alcohol abuse. So I think just like having fraternities like sober nights or like things like that, just to like ease into it, like it's such a big part of college. So.
Yeah.
Should we move on to another topic?
We have one more left. So one of the causes or like effects that come out of it is like health effects of alcohol abuse. So we have written down some solutions for that.
Yeah, I found that binge drinkers were 6 times more likely to fail school and 5 times more likely to fail class. That's from Wechsler, 2002. And then I found that 47% of all campus sexual assaults involve alcohol. That's from DeJong and Lang for 2002. I mainly like just drinking in general, like doesn't just cause abuse, like doesn't just cause harm to you, like others can be really affected, and like just health in general. I feel like an instrument to help with that would be like if you like see that students failing class, like you have an intervention, like college like has an intervention for you, like to see what's up, even if it's like not alcohol abuse. Having that can probably be helpful, like just so you're not failing out of school.
That's definitely a good idea. But I feel like, do you think a lot of the time like people are scared to call each other out? Like if you think someone needed help, would you like tell them?
Yeah, I feel like it should come from the college, not the students
Okay.
itself. Because I personally, like, I wouldn't want to like get my friend was having a problem. I wouldn't want to jump into their business. I'd probably give them space. So I feel like it came from college would be like easier than that.
I feel like that falls into having a counselor, like
Yeah.
a counselor
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I mean, my like health effect just talked about a counseling model that and how it was like cost beneficial. It was like one of the best ways to get compensated. I think definitely in our solution, it's like having a counselor, a mentor counselor, like a one thing like you said. So, does anybody have any other ideas or solutions?
Yeah, to like go off like the physical health effects, like according to the NIA, to prevent serious injuries or deaths, there must be policies or procedures that allow students to seek medical help in alcohol emergencies without like incurring disciplinary action or consequences. So like they can still get help without getting all the heavy trouble with those students.
So you're saying if someone's in like a situation where like,
Yeah.
say they're drunk, but like seriously
Yeah.
need help, if they call, they can't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
So
good,
then people
good
won't
Samaritan
feel
policies.
scared.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't Penn State already do that though?
Well, this is about like every college, so it
Okay,
could
cool,
be.
yeah, okay.
I also found I have some evidence for
Oh, you
that.
do? Okay.
So, according to Virginia Voss and Richard Catalano in 2019, after Cornell University introduced medical amnesty, calls for emergency assistance rose and nearly doubled the percentage of students attending follow-up alcohol education sessions.
No, the counter argument to that is like, don't you think students would like abuse it?
I don't think anyone wants to be in that situation though. Like no one wants to be in a situation where you need to use these laws.
Yeah, it just like helps because students are really scared to like reach out because they don't want to be in trouble. Like I was researching these like Samaritan policies and then I found that like putting the Samaritan in place like can really help because students actually start to reach out because they're not going to be in trouble. Like a lot of students really like feel scared to reach out for their friend because the consequences like outweigh the benefit.
Well, like who would they like call?
Like an emergency line, like, I don't know. Anything that could offer help when you're like.
Yeah, I'm sure a good policy instrument would be like a hotline or
Yeah.
or even if if it's as bad as like you need like an ambulance or something like that. Like,
I also have some like strategies that could tackle that before it gets to that point, like designated driver programs or moderation apps that could track your alcohol just so it doesn't have to get to that point where it's affecting your health. You could have safe options and awareness before it gets to that point.
Yeah. Should we like go over each solution and
Like the student cause and stuff.
okay, so the peer pressure and social norms to drink, we had like implementing a class that's a year long, like a mandatory class that's engaging, and like counsels people. And that kind of went hand in hand with like getting a counselor and each person having a counselor. So that was one solution.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like having the orientation activities is kind of another one.
Yeah, but we'll still professional.
So we go.
Can you repeat that?
It was like having like the year-long class or the mandatory one, or having like each person as a counselor.
Okay.
But
So-
those are like two things.
I guess we could do two solutions. Like they
I
could
mean,
each be separate.
I think what we're trying to do here is we're trying to combine all the things. It's like it's all the effects.
I think we just want to find the best possible
One
solution.
solution.
To,
We were just listing the solutions and just seeing what was the best we thought.
Oh,
Like for each cause.
yeah.
Like that was the cause. That was like the solutions for peer pressure.
Okay. Yeah.
And then for like access to alcohol, we said like severe regulations. Like not just feeling like if you get punished, you can just escape it. It should like I don't know, stronger programs, stronger rules.
But does that also include counseling? Part of the authority?
It kind of tied back. A lot of the things we talked about. tied
yeah,
back.
sure. It
Yeah,
does.
I know, but like.
one policy
is that
instrument I have here is follow up, like a follow up alcohol counseling.
Yeah.
Research.
Yeah.
Like when something like that happens.
Okay, so yeah, counseling.
And then also like easy access, like more regulations was we had pushing back sorority and frat, like and eliminating Greek life, but then we said you can't really eliminate Greek life because all the funds go away to alumni. So it would kind of only be like pushing back when you can go into a sorority or a frat.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. And then the last one was like the health, or using alcohol as a scapegoat to cope.
So you said like recovery programs.
Yeah, recovery programs.
Those are sometimes.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
I think the first one about getting a counselor and meeting and doing a dorm orientation.
Yeah.
And then whatever else was in that. I think that covers a lot of the effects, and it definitely helps a lot of students.
definitely. I think having a person to talk to, someone you could, trust and rely on, will force you to open up and, truly be vulnerable and help solve your problems.
I think like we said a lot. I think the best thing was counseling because it kept on coming up in like every solution. I think that was the most like abundant thing we talked about. But having someone to talk to and like not being in trouble for what you say would definitely like help a lot of students out. I feel like.
And that makes me want to get some of your guys' thoughts on like a mix between two, like with the counseling and in fraternities or sororities. Like, what if we had maybe a counselor designated to a fraternity, or
Yeah.
maybe a few, like someone in Greek life could just like privately talk to if they needed to,
Like in addition, or like just
in addition, or I mean,
in addition.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be beneficial because I know you hear about all the scary things that happen in fraternity, sorority life, and the alcohol abuse and the deaths. And so I feel like if there's someone there to monitor it, and maybe not, say, oh, you can't be drinking, but just in case, someone is really messed up or something, is looking bad, there's someone trusted there that can take care of that person.
Yeah, like you guys are talking about like an older like frat student or what?
I wasn't.
Just the frat in general.
it was kind of just like a
Like
abstract idea.
who would be the one helping?
The counselors. I
Oh,
mean, how
yeah.
like
Like
talk to
okay.
There's someone
like, all like the
certified.
issues you're having.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good solution. Counselors.
What were the other ones again? That we
Severe regulations, like stronger programs, like stronger rules in general.
Like classes too, right?
Yeah, or pushing back when you can apply to a sorority and a frat, or eliminating Greek life, but we said there was a lot of counter arguments to that. And then there was like orientation, like more programs. But everything kind of falls into talking to a counselor,
Yeah.
Okay, but like what's our like final solution that we're doing?
So everyone has a counselor, like specifically for them, and has to meet with them like monthly, mandatory meetings, because then you can go over anything. And I guess alcohol like is definitely a part of. If you're struggling with that, you'll be more like open to speak to it one-on-one.
Is there any like additional stuff?
I think we're going to talk about all our solutions. I feel like they were all pretty good, but counseling is just the one
Yeah.
that came up with the most.
Yeah.
So I
And
feel
that's gonna counteract like health problems like
I mean, it's
that's
everything.
really
It's like you get to talk to someone, you can like really truly see how your problems are evolving.
I mean, I feel like the only thing it does, like, it's not bad that it doesn't do this, but like the only thing it doesn't do is like restrict students from accessing it. Like,
so maybe the counselor should go like, I don't know, because then that solution would be like having a class where they like.
I mean, I feel like we
class.
talked about it that you're never really gonna be able to not like kids are still gonna find a way to get it regardless of what
Yeah.
you do. So I feel like that problem is pretty unsolvable. But I do think the counselor.
It's more about limiting
Yeah.
people's like.
I think that's like the best solution that we have at hand.
Yeah.
It like it allows students to like to see the problem themselves.
I agree.
yeah, that's probably the best solution.
Okay, so final one, meeting like with a monthly counselor.
Yeah.
Each person mandatory individual meetings. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Any afterthoughts?
Yeah, do you want to join a fraternity?
Who, me? Well, why me? No, I don't want to. Well,
So I was gonna say like if you wanted to and not really knowing too much about it, like if you had a year to think about it, like
you think it would change my opinion?
yeah, I think it could.
Well, I'm doing engineering, so it would probably even make me less inclined. I don't know. Is anybody
And
like?
if you were gonna, you think the council would help? Like having a counselor to talk to would help?
I think having a counselor would definitely help. I mean, frat is like there's more to it than just drinking, you know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think you could bring some revolutionary change with you over to whatever frat you want to go to.
I feel like
You know,
you
maybe-
knowledge them. Like after this discussion, like I feel like you could just drop
Yeah.
knowledge on them.
Exactly.
Definitely. Well, are you thinking about joining frat?
Yeah.
So, do you think moving it to sophomore year would be annoying?
I think by the
Instead of freshman.
45-minute mark. You know,
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.